and gentlemen, welcome to Kingdom of Kodiak. I'm Kodiak. With me today, Lord Squire Corran Gray. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Oh, fantastic as usual. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get to the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. How long have you been playing Amtgard?
Officially, I started in 2016.
Okay. So 6 years? Five and a
Yes,
half? Yeah.
math.
Math. Yeah. It's one of my qualities. I could do a little bit of math. What was the draw to bringing you to the game of Amtgard?
YouTube. So I'm one of those people who start off with Dungeons and Dragons, like so many others. I really enjoyed it. I was just on YouTube looking up random Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and I kept seeing the things about LARPing. Okay, now when I grew up in the culture that D&D's for nerds. Well, I joined the Air Force, started talking to all these nerds, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is awesome." I'm like, let me try this. Dungeons and Dragons is awesome. But then we used to make fun of all the LARPing kids. It's nerds but worse.
Yeah.
Then I see all this stuff on YouTube, and I'm like, that doesn't look worse. That looks awesome. Yeah. So I started doing some research, and then I was like, okay, I kind of want to try this Nero thing. I want to try this, but there was no groups in my area. Eventually, my wife knew a person who did Amtgard locally. I was like, okay, and ended up going to that park where they just happened to be, and I see this guy walk past me dressed up as Link, and I'm like, honey, I'm following them. So one thing led to another. Eventually, I started doing LARPing.
That's awesome. Isn't it always the way too? You join the military, you learn about Dungeons and Dragons, and then you start LARPing. It just seems to be the trend.
Well, it's like we were at the schoolhouse, and we were in line, and there was these two guys in front of me. They were talking about this really cool game. I'm like, I love video games. I'm like, dude, what game are you playing? And they're like, oh, you wouldn't be interested. I'm like, rude. Okay. But they kept doing this like every single morning for like months. And I mean, it didn't take months for me to get hooked. I'm like, okay, I have to know what this is. And they're like, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, wait, you talking about that math thing, the tabletop thing? They're like, yeah, you want to come try it? At least come see. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's what the rest of my Saturdays for the rest of my time at tech school, and several Saturdays when I was in Afghanistan.
Yeah. It is the great time filler for sure.
And then some.
Yeah. All right. Well, still would like to know if you could tell us where your persona comes from.
Okay. The persona is Corran Gray. Corran comes from Star Wars. Okay. If you've read some of the extended universe and everything else, Corran Horn, one of the ace pilots for the Rebels. And I always liked that name. And then Gray, I'm a big fan of the Gray Jedi. Ever since the Disney takeover, the Gray Jedi and a bunch of the extended universe have gone away. Well, they live on with me. My character is an assassin. When I first started playing, I was desperately trying to avoid playing assassin because so much of my D&D stuff has always gone that way. Rogues, assassins, tricksters. I'm like, okay, let me try to be serious here. The one skill I'm going to need to learn is warrior. I'm going to learn to fight. Okay. Started learning to fight. Got my butt handed to me a lot. That was fun. But then I'm like, you know what? There's so much roleplay stuff here. Okay, I'm an assassin.
Yeah.
Corran is one of those assassins. He kills because he needs to. He's a chaotic good, so he does what he has to, in his own way. So
it's still for the right. It's still ultimately for good. Like,
oh yeah, totally. I mean, that person needed to die.
I could justify it. You gotta have a high charisma to do that, but yeah, I can justify it.
I mean, that goal justifies just about anything, right?
Fair enough. So, what award or achievement would you say you're most proud of receiving?
Oh, geez. Let's see. I'm not 100% sure which one's my favorite. So it's one of these, I think. No, I wasn't prepared. Why do you ask? This is my 8th album. All right, it was made by someone in my kingdom, Casey White. All right, and it's of course Among Us and everything else. So, all right, there's that one, and Paragon Assassin.
Yeah,
it'd be between those two. The award over here, it's the only award that's ever been made for me, and so it means a lot. I've never met that person in person. Never met. We've had a couple conversations online. I think I was present for her online nighting, and that was it.
Mhm.
And she made me an award, and so that just means the world to me.
That's awesome. No, that is the positive of being in the internet space, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Most of my friends in Amtgard, most of them, have never met me.
Yeah.
Never. So I'm kind of an odd duck when it comes to Amtgard. So I am 99% online.
Yeah. Well, we'll switch that. We'll get to the point where we're going to events and stuff. And I don't know if Godric told you, but I'm a hugger, so we'll meet up and be like, hey. And except you'll see them, oh, he's 6'4" and kind of goofy looking, but I'm always gonna.
That's half the people I know.
Fair. All right. So Morgan and Sarai would both like to know, what is your favorite class battle game?
My favorite class battle game is we called it Warlord. It's gone by other different names, but essentially what it is everybody starts on their own. You go, you kill someone, now they work for you. All right. And then you start kind of building an army to the point where you have like two massive forces just going at it. And the last group standing wins. So
okay.
We've done it class, we've done it just martial, we've done it just single sword. So
I like it. I don't think we've ever played that game with a class. Dragonspine, send a message if we have, but I'm pretty sure I've only ever played that as a like martial game, but that sounds like a whole lot of fun as a class game. And I mean, you're wearing the Paragon sash. You came into the game. What is your favorite class to play in Amtgard? Peasant. I knew it. Okay.
It's always just been my favorite class. So just down from the role play, the abilities match up pretty well. So it's a fun class to play. It's not as complicated as most of the spell classes. There's no funny business with no vocals. Just it's pretty straightforward. Just have to know how to use poison.
Yeah. This last week, my son started playing Assassin at our park, and we're teaching. We had to teach him the poison. He was a level 1, so he's not supposed to have it. But by the time we got him on the field, we're like, oh, well, he wasn't looking the part either. But we were like, whatever, because he's been playing Archer. So we're like, well, you can also play an Archer as an assassin, so
yeah.
But that's cool. And then Corran, Deverick would like to know, what is your favorite weapon set?
Okay, winning class battle, of course. Assassin, I like to go flow. So 2 short swords usually. I always have a dagger on me. You always need to have a dagger. I don't care what class you are. You always need to have a dagger. Okay, maybe not monk, but everyone else needs a dagger. Okay. When I'm not doing class and it's just martial or something else, shield and flail. Oh, I see it already.
Well, oh, Sarai, if you watch this, I found another person that's not a person.
I get some hate from it, but at the same time, I know how to use it.
Yeah, so I've definitely played Infernal Descendant with a flail just to change it up from doing sword and board, and I can't deny that it's good for doing it, but yeah, I definitely have to shower twice when I get home because it doesn't feel good.
Well, when you fight people who are not familiar with how to deal with flail, it becomes a little too easy. It's very cheesy. Okay, but then you get those people start getting used to it, and it's a really intense battle at that point. So I love the complexity that can be fought from that, and just getting around shields. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, those are the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. Let's get to the question KOK viewers been asking since episode 1. Guys, we're in episode 99. Like, it's no longer double digits after today. So we're going to ask them. Let's see how it goes. Sir Glenolf should have received a toaster from Sir Alucard that I gave to Sir Alucard that Kelthrax gave to me. Should Sir Glenolf also get a soda maker?
No. He's got a toaster now. If he wants a soda maker, go buy himself.
Okay.
Now, that said, I mean, he's done a lot for the game. So, I mean, if somebody wants to gift him one, I mean, Calthrox bought him a toaster. So, I actually had to go back in your videos to understand the story behind all of this. I had to watch Calthrax's video to understand why he bought him a toaster.
Yeah.
It's only $6. I'll buy him a toaster.
Yeah. If you watch KOK starting in episode 99, you've missed like 7 or 18, 25 in jokes. Yeah. For sure. But no, Sir Glenolf, Corran says you will not be getting a soda maker. Buy one yourself. All right. Stillhat would like to know, why is Stillhat the best bear?
Who?
Stillhat.
No.
No?
The best bear is Ursini here in Crystal Groves.
Okay. Freya would like to know, why are bears so overrated?
They're not.
No, they're not.
You just haven't got enough bear hugs.
That's fair. That's Freya has not got enough bear hugs, so Freya wouldn't understand the complexities of bear sonas. Stillhat, neither of us were selected, and I didn't get even a nomination, so I'm only going to take 2 points. But unfortunately, I mean, Kodiak, yeah, there's a bear right there. Saying bear. Yeah. Thanks, Carl.
From the Alpelicals? I forget the name of the island. The Kodiak Island up in Alaska. Are you from there?
No.
No? So you're not a real Kodiak then?
No, I'm just from the Northeast, and I thought it would be fun to come with a pretty strong persona. Here we are. Yeah. All right. So, Corran, first, what is your thoughts on Dragonspine getting a mobile pool and or jacuzzi?
No.
You say no to a lot of things.
I say no to a lot of things. All right. So, I do a lot of work with the scouting organization, so BSA. This past summer, we had a giant week of Boy Scout camp and everything else. They had a big Olympic pool. All right. Well, after people spent so much time in that pool, by the end of the week, it was it was not the cleanest. And knowing some amp guarders, after a weekend of fighting, I can just see Sunday morning. It's not going to be pretty.
Okay.
So now,
all right.
Right, Friday night.
Pristine.
Okay. Yeah. First come, first serve.
For sure. All right. Well, let's go down this hypothetical rabbit hole where you actually said yes.
Whoa. Oh yeah, yes. They should totally get a poll. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, awesome. Corran, that's a great idea. How would you fund it?
Let's see. I have heard many different ideas on how to fund it. I like Dodrick's thing about bringing a bartender in. I really like that. I think there was also a mention of a calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. Depending on how you go with the calendar, that can be very tasteful and or not. Still good options.
Or you did do your homework. I'm impressed.
Yeah. I like. How about the calendar idea? But instead of just like men, women, or non-binary of Amtgard, make it into scenes of role play.
Yeah, there you go.
So, scene they're fighting an orc. Next one, they're in a tavern. Half of them are in a brawl. Just various things like that.
Yeah, with all the artists of Dragonspine, I'm sure we could probably get an animated version of that. Instead of,
that would be awesome. I know a lot of people would be behind that.
For sure. I'll have to see if we can get maybe some calendars made. That'll be good times. All right. Well, those were the 3 questions KOK viewers been asking since episode 1. Like I said, this is the last double-digit episode we'll ever do. So there we go. Let's get to your questions. We're going to start out with my new favorite, Stillhead. Thank you so much. Corran, what is your weirdest flex?
I don't really have a weirdest flex. I don't flex. So
this one.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that would be pretty weird if I did that too. Yeah, I guess my weirdest flex would be me flexing.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was waiting for someone to finally do that, but you'll come to hear some of these questions. I expected there to be a really simple answer, and they're like, no, I just don't have an answer. Like, okay, well, I guess we'll move on. Sir Glenn asked this question. I like it. We're going to keep it. What are you the best known for? And what would you like to be the best known for? Compare and contrast.
Ooh. I can't say that I'm the best known at anything. I'm well known for making belts and sashes. That's my niche. I'm right behind Sir or Saint Godric and Lael. He's getting his knighthood come the end of the month for his weaving, and I'm following the same path. I guess if I was best known in part of that area, it would just be doing weird things, like just coming up with creative ideas. I created my own weave at one point. The centerline weave was mine. I came up with a belt extension technique that used a whole section of a belt with rings on it to where, like, if a belt's too small for you, you put this on it and you can extend it anywhere between a few inches all the way up to several extra feet if necessary. So if you got maybe like an old, man-at-arms belt or something, you throw that on there, boom, So.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Lightning and Beatrix would both like to know, what's your favorite garb that you own?
This one. I only have one set. I really do. I only have one set. This is the very first one. I made it myself. It's made out of bed sheets and pillowcases. Got it over here at DAV, which is like a Goodwill for military veterans. And I just was going through. I'm like, okay, here's some black, here's some red. Let's throw some gray in there. And so I just threw it all together. And this is my very first garb. I used Lady Armstrong's template for it. And I learned a lot, mostly about what not to do, but I learned a lot. And I have another garb set. I already got most of the materials for. I have the design for it. It was going to be my 2020 project. But then I started Corran's Crafts and started making belts, and it's still in production. And
I mean, it's your 2020 something project, right?
2020 something. I'll call you in 2030 when it's not.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk. We'll see. Maybe, who knows? Dash asked this question to Henrin, and I like this one as well, so I kept it. What would your dream kit or garb piece look like?
Okay. All right, I haven't told a lot of people about this yet. Okay, and it's something that's going to be in the work eventually. But I'm a Star Wars fan. Okay, so I'm a big fan of the Grey Jedi Knights, but I also am a big fan of the Mandalorians. So what I would like is a Jedi-inspired black garb with leather and steel armor, but the steel armor is in the shape of like the Mandalorian armor.
Oh, okay. All right.
And since I am an assassin, there's got to be a hood. So, yeah.
Okay. You and Kato should talk, because Kato is a leather worker who is also a big fan of the Mandalorian. And I feel like the two of you could come together and figure that out pretty easily. Kato, if you're watching, do the thing. So I don't know if you know Godric.
That's that guy from the place, right?
Yeah, he does the thing,
Yeah. I hear he's distinct. Yeah.
Well, you know. All right. Well, Godric would like to know, why is paracord superior to macrame?
Of course, he would ask that question. He loves paracord. All right. So paracord and macrame, I wouldn't say one is superior to the other. Okay. Both have their own merits. Paracord, when I make a paracord item like a sash or a belt or something, each one I use 550 cord. Okay, so that's roughly 550 pounds of pressure you can put on one strand of that cord. I use a lot of strands. You could pull a car with these things, all right? And you can throw them in the wash and they're good to go over and over and over again after pulled said car, So these type of things are going to last forever. Macrame is very stretchy, all right? And it's kind of poofy. Now, when you're doing weaving and everything else, it's kind of hard to get tension from sometimes. But since it's kind of poofy how it is, it covers itself up. So if there's gaps or spacing, it fits in so much better. So you're able to get much more intricate patterns with it. So it's got its give and takes. There's also like cotton weaves and yarn and different things like that Lael has been working with. And it's fantastic. He's been throwing cotton into dye and getting different patterns with it. So yes. There's the lizards and everything else. Lizards. The basilisks. There it is. They call themselves a lizard. There's a big crew of them up in northern Crystal Groves, and he made one of those belts for them for one of the knights. Sir Jinx, that's it. Made a belt for him using that technique, and it flows so well. So everything's got
awesome.
Its merits.
Well, everything has its merits, but Melanie Song Taylor is still going to ask our question. What is your favorite crafting skill?
Weaving.
Doesn't matter which material?
It doesn't. Well, I do prefer paracord because it doesn't hurt my hands as much. Macrame has a tendency to it just really eats up at my hands.
Okay.
But that's a personal preference. Both look great in the end. Weaving is my favorite craft. It's one of the easiest to get into because the materials are not overly expensive. You don't need a whole bunch of equipment to get started. Like for sewing, really, really well and all the other stuff, you usually want a sewing machine. Well, I don't need a sewing machine to weave a sash. I need a ring and cord. Let's go. That's it. A pair of scissors.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It was one of my first crafts that I did to qual, because I've only ever done crafts to qual for office. I don't arts and science for the fun. I only do it to qual for stuff. Was a basket weave with 6mm
macrame Bonnie.
Yeah. Yep. And I can do that with my eyes closed now. Well, because I have taken some time away from it. But at one point, I showed the core members of the Order of the Ash all how to do it all at the same time, and was able to walk around and show them how to fix it and stuff. And the person that taught me would have been really proud. But mine still has gaps in it and stuff. I don't. But yeah, definitely weaving sashes, which is an awesome thing to give as gifts too, right? Because it's super cheap. Or can be super cheap. So if you're looking for, a way to just give donations to the park or rose entries, or if you want a simple garb accessory for arts and science, sash and woven belts for days.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the main items I think like any new player needs, a belt. And I'm not saying it to promote my own stuff, but a belt, because like if you start off with a tabard. Okay, some people will sew in ties on the sides and they'll hold, but it just doesn't look good. You throw a belt on there, there you go. If you come in with sweats and a ripped up t-shirt and everything else, I mean, that'll get you by. You throw a belt on that, it really ties it in.
Yeah.
And, then you throw underbelts and everything else. It really gets people into the spirit of the belt system. And so, yeah, belts. Yes, absolutely. So
Alexander would like to know, what projects are you working on now, or what ones have you done most recently?
So my most recent project I can't show because it's not 100% finished yet.
Mhm.
So I can't show that one yet. And once it's awarded, I'll be like, sending pictures like all across the internet to every group and kingdom across the thing. That aside, uh, that I'm working on multiple projects right now. I got a couple commissions I'm working on. I got a Squire belt that I'm working on for Knight Drew Kara, I think it is. Drew Kara. I got a Knight's belt for someone down in Neverwinter. I'm going to give a shout out to Neverwinter. They are like my number one customer for some reason. I get onesie twosies from these other kingdoms. I did 4 sashes for one guy in Emerald Hills, but Neverwinter. I don't y'all like my stuff. Like I don't know what to say. Thank you all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where I get most of my commissions. I got stuff for them down there. Besides that, I got this really big belt project. It consists of 7 different belts. It's not ready to be revealed yet, really. The only hint that I would give to it is it resounds with a kingdom reign of Iron Mountains. So, and I kind of missed the boat on it. But that aside, more to come.
Okay, awesome. So, I mean, you've already kind of said it, but you do commissions. Do you want to discuss prices here, or is there?
I'm not hiding anything when it comes to prices.
Okay.
Like most of my work is like for the most simple stuff is usually about $80.
Okay.
And that's a simple ring, that's a sash or a belt, and I'll do just about any pattern, anything that someone wants in reason with length. So, and it includes shipping. So, yeah. And then I also have painted rings, ornate rings. I've added other things to these belts, made double belts for people. Yeah. And so my prices go up with more things being added on.
Oh, Corran, I have an idea. So one of the things that I want to do, I've got a tunic idea for it where an entire sleeve is covered in Enochian.
Okay.
Could you pull off a weave with Enochian in it?
I'm not 100% sure what that pattern looks like. So
go ahead. Sorry.
So I'm not 100% sure. Most of my patterns are pretty set in certain areas, but I can do my best to resemble it as I can.
Okay. We might be having a couple of in-depth conversations here because I need I need more supply, and the more Enochian stuff I have, the better. Okay. Anyways, this question has stayed on because it has a bear pun in it. You've been forewarned.
I love bear puns.
What would you consider to be a bare necessity new amp garters should focus on?
Okay, so I said belts. Belts are one of the greatest things you can start off with. That aside, a single sword. Short swords, just because almost every class you start off with a short sword. If you want to just come in as an NPC, have a sword with you. If it's just fun to have a sword. If you're sitting over in Nirvana and everything else, and people are just acting rowdy, hit them with a sword. It's just fun. So a belt, a sword, yeah, that and reading the rules of play. Oh my gosh, please read the rules of play. So
yeah, absolutely read the rules of play. Okay, good. All right, still would like to know if you could tell us a little bit about your heraldry.
My heraldry. Okay, so you shared it when you did the announcement and everything else. It's got the partial hexagon with the wings and the star in the center. The wings and star in the center is one of my favorite versions of the Gray Jedi logo. And so I already said I really enjoy the Gray Jedi. Their concepts are so real that I don't know why they aren't canon anymore. Like, come on, Disney, give us the Gray Jedi. Because I mean, the light side, they were just too strict in their policies and everything else, which is what caused people to fall from them. And then, well, if you're Sith, you just want to, power and kill things. And the line of succession was just really toxic, just toxic. So, so that's the main part of it. But I wanted something more. I wanted to make it my own. So I like the hexagon shape because, it reminds me of a D20. Everyone loves a D20. I came up with this concept roughly, I think it was 2017. I was going to put some type of hexagon behind it. One of my favorite bands is Linkin Park. And they came out with a new logo that had the LP in the center and the hexagon. But as I was coming up with my symbol and everything else with that on it, of course, tragedy happened with the band. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. He passed away. And with that, they changed their logo. They went from this 6-sided hexagon to 5 sides. And they left out a segment in honor of him. And to reflect that, I also left a section out of mine. So that's why it's only got 5 sections of a hexagon. Most people never pick up on that, but it's my thing.
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. It's a great tribute, and also really, I mean, I like it from start to beginning, the whole story. Yes, Great Jedi, and also rest in peace, Chester. Great. Okay. I hate to go from something like that to this question because it just okay. Corran, there's a correct answer here.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Cato would like to know. Back shields for version 9. How do you feel?
Yes and no. Okay, let me explain. As an assassin in class battles, don't you dare. Okay? I want my back stats. If you throw a big old shield back there, I gotta start going kidney shots and this and that when I flank, and that's just gonna be a mess. Just don't do that to me. Okay. But martial battles where like people with great swords, a lot like what they have like in Belgar, Dagger here and stuff like that. It's awesome. It's got a good technique to it, and I could see a good application for it. Maybe if they limited the size of the shields and stuff like that, or gave more classes access to shields. I'm an assassin. I cannot use a shield. I have to, borrow a warrior. Yeah, the whole warrior in the shield. So I'm for them in like tactical aspects and battle game concepts, but as an assassin, no, please don't do it to me.
Well, a technical yes is still a yes, and Cato, I don't know how you keep doing this, and also V9, if you're listening, any of you guys are listening, that's like 75% of the people who've been asked are okay with it. Granted, I'm not.
Well, have you seen that one video? I think it was on Come Try LARP. I think shares it all the time. There's this one woman. She's got a back shield and a great sword. I think it was a 2-on-2 battle, and one of the other people was an archer, and they're shooting. She does that whole spin thing and blocks the arrow, and like she does like 2 or 3 times. She makes that look awesome. All right, and I think that's like the #1 promoter for back shields. So
yeah, I mean that's why, because people want to spin it to win it. But guys, you can do that in flow. I do it all the time. You don't need a shield. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Cato gets his second question. Corran, to flurb or not to flurb?
Flurb every day, my good sir. Every day.
Every day. Love it.
Every day.
Zana would like to know, is there a rain theme that maybe you would like to see from your kingdom or another kingdom, or the event theme or something to that effect?
Okay. I was not present for this, but my kingdom had a Harry Potter themed event, and I've seen other kingdoms do it. Now, if I had my perfect event, I would want that. But I know there's a lot of negativity towards the Harry Potter world right now. Involving J.K. Rowling. All right. And what I would want is I would still want a Harry Potter theme, but I would ask for no one to buy anything for it. Everything would be made.
Yep.
So I would like a homemade Harry Potter theme. We still do the houses, we do all the stuff, but we do it ourselves, make it our own, bring it really into Amtgard.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up on Harry Potter, and I mean, with all the negativity about other stuff, I liked the world. It's what got me into reading.
Yeah.
I hated reading books. I just liked it all together. And then one of my friends said, "Hey, read this book," and I was hooked. And now I've read so many other books. So
Yeah, Harry Potter, a school of wizardry reign where you can make your 4 houses yourself. You put a microphone in a hat and you make it people wear it at court, and you have someone in another room say one of the 4 houses by randomly assigning it. There's ways to do it, guys. And it doesn't have to.
Awesome.
Yeah, where it doesn't have to promote Rollin, right? Like,
no.
I really love the idea of putting a speaker in a hat and having everyone come up from court and put it on their head and just have someone in the other room randomly assigning people to houses and trying to make them balanced, and just being like, there we go. That's the Kingdom Reign. As we start the reign, before it even kicked off, before you could leave, you already know what house you're going to be in.
That would be awesome. And I think for any type of Kingdom event, you just need to go around with a hat with a speaker in it and just hand someone a random microphone from time to time and see what happens.
For sure.
That would be interesting.
There you go. Well, and I know locally when I was just doing my park monarchy, I did a Harry Potter reign, and we built the Quidditch rings and we played Quidditch. We did the Triwizard tournament. Granted, my players hate doing riddles, so they forfeited the riddles and took the time penalty for the riddles. Yeah. But it was fun. It was a good time.
Was it one of those situations where it was riddles that were made for kindergartners, but like Dungeons and Dragons, they want to take like 3 hours to solve it?
I thought that the riddles were appropriate for age. Now, granted, after we did the Triwizard tournament, we all went back and sat down at the picnic table, and I was like, all right, guys, I'll give bonus points if you can get the correct answers, since none of you wanted to do these. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a riddle genius or something, but they got like 4 of the 20. So, yeah. But I mean, I like riddles, so I spend a lot of time with them. But anyways, a School of Wizardry reign that doesn't promote Rollins, probably a great idea. I like it. So Morgan would like to know, what is your favorite Amtgard event?
Okay, so I have never been to an actual Kingdom event, like one of the big ones. I've never been. The closest I've had is the Kingdom came down to my park one time. It was the Amtgard meets Tidewater or something like that. Okay. They came down to us. We had some battle games. We had some walls put up. One guy pretended to be a boulder and trying to roll people over. It was awesome. And I got to meet so many people from my kingdom. It was cold, but we didn't care. It was awesome. So, yeah, it was my favorite event.
Okay. Well, we got to get you to some events. That's especially if you watch Godric's video about voting yes or no for knighthood. Mm-hmm. Because Godric's video for voting yes or no for knighthood, he makes it very clear. Are you going to kingdom events? If the answer is no, he might vote no. Now, granted, Godric's not in everyone's kingdom, but if everyone's watching that video like they should be, many of those opinions are going to start sticking.
But also, if you watch this video, he had subsequent answers that could substitute for that type of situation. Are they still active in the game in some form?
Yep,
do they
7 or 8
contribute to the community?
Yep. So the asterisk 7 or 8, yes, yeah. But
the scariest one was if there was 10 of you, would the game be better? And I can't say if there was 10 of me, the game would be better. It would be interesting.
It would be fun. Yeah. I mean, if there was 10 Kodiaks, it would be fun, but better? I don't know.
Better.
I'm needy, so that maybe not. Although Deverick would have been woken up 10 times at 6 in the morning after staying up until 3:30 at GOTC, and that would have been funny for me 10 times in a row. So, okay.
You win some, you lose some.
So Kenjin would actually like to know, what does your perfect AmpGuard event look like? So now you're not telling me about one that you've been to, you're designing it.
Okay. So I lived precariously through pictures and videos and everything else of all the other events across the game. I've watched a lot of videos.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Something that I haven't seen a lot from, even though AmpGuard is a LARP, I don't see enough role play. So what I would like to see is an entire event where everything is in role play. I mean, down to the tournaments. I want to see role play fighting. Now, they can be serious about the fighting, but when they take a death, oh, pull a Shatner. I don't care. Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. We're supposed to be having fun. And there's so many people who like role play. I understand there's those who don't like role play, but just dress up. Something. Be mute guard number 3.
So
something.
I do like the idea of, like, when you go to do a weapons check at a tournament, for the RP one being like, okay, sign in your weapon set, whatever you're using, so you can be however, if you want to be a barbarian with a boulder and a longsword, and we just do a single RP tournament with whatever your set is.
Oh, an RP tournament. Yes,
yeah.
Just an RP tournament. That'd be awesome.
Yes. Okay. All right. Ideas. I got things going. Kodiak with ideas is a bad thing, by the way.
So am I, and
yeah.
You'll get to that very soon.
So Alexander would like to know, what are your goals? What's next for you?
So my current goal, I'm sitting at 9 owls. So 10th owl, masterhood owl, and then hopefully knighthood. That's my short-term goals, if you will. So past that, take it as I come, but maybe I'll work on dog. So if you're not familiar, DOG, Dragon Owl Garber. So anyone who's a dog is a masterhood in all.
Wow.
So,
okay.
There are very few people who have their masterhood in all 3. So, and it'd be fun. So
Dragonspine actually just got like its second ever Master Owl at Maze in November. So yeah, it's a rare commodity. But that being said, there's 3 or 4 people who are on the way to becoming Master Owls currently. It's been an overlooked masterhood in Dragonspine, and it's getting rectified slowly but surely, as many things are in AmpGuard right now, because we've had the time to stare at awards and go, why are they only at this? What is this about? And overanalyze and underanalyze less than we would typically would.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Corran, I went and looked at your org. This next question has got some legs. Okay. What fighting companies or households are you a part of?
Okay. Hold on. I have a list here
so
I could say it properly. Where are we? Okay. So, fighting company is technically Path of the Dragon. You'll see it listed as a household.
As a household. Yep.
All right. Because we went through a kind of a de-evolution situation, a whole bunch of members left and whatnot, and it came to a status that we feel we could not maintain the title of company as we are. But we're slowly rebuilding. We're bringing new members in. We focus on excellence. Now, back in the time when, companies were a huge thing, it was fighting excellence. But as time has gone by, we realized, why are we only excellent in just fighting? Why can't we be excellent in everything else? So we're trying to be excellent in fighting. We're trying to be excellent in arts and crafts. We're trying to be excellent in leadership. And what we want is to bring people in and to promote those. So self-evolution, self-building, what can we do to make things better for not just us, but the individual as well? So we're getting there, and eventually we'll get our numbers back up, and maybe we'll go back to being a company someday. So
okay, so that's the fighting company. Look at that. You're just super prepared for the promotion of all your stuff today. That's really good. Corran understood the assignment.
I got a bunch more to show down here if you want.
Oh, absolutely. Just as you're answering questions, just pulling stuff up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You were asking about Flurb, right?
Yeah.
And you asked about flail.
Yeah.
This is my flail. Okay. It has a name. Flail for the dramatic. That is literally its name. Okay. I entered it in as flail for the dramatic. It was actually based off my very first sword I made. I made the foam for it. Like, it's just multiple layers of blue foam. This is early tech for me.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
And I just made a channel, put the golf club in the middle, and then I angled it off on the sides. But what happened was I went in too deep on one of the sides, and it still passed, but it became a weak spot. So my sword blew out on me 3 times. All right. And I would take it apart, rebuild it, and then it took the 3rd time for me to realize, oh, I have a weak spot here. I have a weak spot here. Oh, crap. So I'm like, okay, what can I do with this? The entire bottom half was still good.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 I had turned into daggers because of where the break was. It was long enough to still be a dagger. Mm-hmm. So my 2 daggers I carry with me everywhere are my original first 2 swords. The 3rd build, the bottom half became the body of the flail, and the sections of the chain and the head are the rest of the sword.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're getting Dallin's kind of giving a shout out right now, requesting a return of the pole flail.
Yes, I've heard these rumors, these stories that this is one of the most sick and horrible weapons at the same time. Yeah. Like, I love my flail, and I know the devastation a pole can happen. Yeah. And putting those 2 together, I could see a lot of angry people.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But also, going back to your weapons, in my head, as you're telling the story of your swords breaking, I see Corran animated. It has 2 broken long swords as daggers.
Yeah, I can see it.
So like it's just a jagged longsword, and there's just 2 of them.
Who was it? Lord of the Rings, the video game series, Shadow of Mordor.
Okay.
He's got a dagger weapon, but it's a broken longsword, and he uses it to assassinate characters. Everyone's like, it's the Assassin's Creed of Lord of the Rings. And yeah, that's what he uses. It's a broken sword.
Yeah. Man, we got to really get on like getting all of our personas animated. Like, that's just got to be a thing.
That would be awesome.
Hero Forge. I mean, down here, Hero Forge is a big deal, right? Like we
did that. We did it too. Everybody was doing it during the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
I've got like 3 of them built. One is of me, not Corran, just of me. Mm-hmm. Another one is a very assassin-looking one, which is actual Corran. And then I of course, I just couldn't help myself. I made another one based off one of my characters. His name is Cheddar Mouskowitz, and he is a mousekin who is also a rogue. So there was a key that you can add. I enlarged it as big as I could, and he's holding it in his tail because he's small, the cheese big, Yeah. And then, of course, I had to put him on a motorcycle.
So, wait, are you and Dallin friends? Because Dallin also has a mouse. So,
no,
rat.
No connection there.
Okay, all right.
But I had to put him on a motorcycle, though. Shout out to you 90s kids and 80s kids back then.
Yeah, like a mouse from Mars. Let's pull this. Let's pull this back into KOK Zone though. Shroudstar reached out last week. Shroudstar is safe. Everything is fine. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna keep saying it every week though. If you could create a ladder award for in Amcar that doesn't already exist, what would it be for, and what would you call it?
Okay, so the one that I would like to see that I haven't seen a lot was ones for Archer. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, some kingdoms, I think they have one called the Fletcher or something like that.
Sure.
And it's basically just Archer done, because back in the day, I say back in the day, like a year or 2 ago, okay, we basically had nothing for archers. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could go for your first 4 warriors, battle prowess and everything else, but past that, nothing. Now, some people argue, oh, we have the Paragon Archer, you got the Paragon Assassin, you can go archery with that. And it's like, that's not the same thing as a warrior. There's no progression up to knighthood. Now, with battle and everything else, technically you could go that route with archer. It's going to be a hard climb, but you technically could. I would like to see something a little more geared towards that. Same thing with spellcasters. I mean, there is so much work put into memorizing those lists and using them appropriately, and there's just not enough for them. Having battle, honestly, has been one of the best things for those classes, but I feel like there could be more. Sure. So, or the Fletcher. I mean, it exists in some kingdoms, but not all. I would like to see more.
Doesn't exist here. It would be a great idea. I've seen so many games where people who have projectile abilities are the people that change what the game looks like. And we have a bunch of really good, yes, yeah. And we have a bunch of really good archers down here. We have some great assassins down here that just, the where they could go with those skill sets is Paragon, which is a really cool award, except for we still treat Masterhood and Knighthood as the echelons. Battlemaster does help with that, but having more awards for specialized people, specialized equipment would be good too. But we'll leave that there. The next question, of course, is if you could change one rule in Amcard that already exists, what would it be and why would you change it?
Okay. The hardest part about this is the one rule. I got several.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So from smallest to biggest. All right. Smallest would be for assassinate for assassins. It's 20 feet. Okay. But as you know, assassins can use bows. But at 20 feet, you start have to do half draw.
Half draw. Yeah.
So if you are a bow assassin and you're trying to use assassinate, you got to get really close. And that starts to become kind of a safety concern.
Yep.
There was talks for, I think, the Circle Monarch, last year, maybe the year before, about increasing it to 50 feet. Now, what this will do is allow the full range of an archer, on field to be able to use assassinate. On top of that, anyone who's using throwies for assassin, anything over 20 feet, we can actually use assassinate. We don't have to go up to someone behind them, assassinate. We can actually, baseball pitch that mess, and actually use it. Assassinate's got its own issues, some people not knowing what it does or forgetting to take the curse part of it. So at least increasing the range kind of makes it more viable.
Sure.
Personally, a change I would like to see is, so assassin is a martial class, but we don't have access to all martial weapons. We can't use flails. We can't use pole arms. We can't use great weapons in general, Well, I would like to see assassins have flails, because I think there would be a lot of mad people out there if I had a poison flail.
Yeah.
And now on a larger scale, one change I would like to see is the level 10 awards and masterhood. What are we doing with that?
Right.
Because the interpretation from the rules, depending on what monarch is in place or how a kingdom likes to do things, masterhood turns out to be 11th award. And in some places, it goes along with the 10th. For instance, in most kingdoms, if a warrior gets their 10th warrior, bam, they are a warlord. Okay, in most places. Now, for them to get their 10th, they put a lot of work in. So, yeah, warlord really just kind of comes hand in hand. Whereas, for Al, Dragon, Garber, they have to do another project on top of that. I mean, if you wanted them to do that, that should have been the standard for their 10th, not necessarily on top of it.
Sure.
Now, if we want to bring knighthood to 10th order, and then have masterhood be something above and beyond, like a paragon kind of concept. Like that would make sense. It's like, okay, you got enough to make knighthood. Okay. Oh, you want to keep going. You want to do this big project for your masterhood? Let's go. Let's do this. It sets an expectation. All right. So right now we expect our knights to be the best of the best, but how many people are going through these paths just to get to knighthood? Knighthood shouldn't be the goal. Masterhood should be the goal. Knighthood is not a goal. It's a position. It's an office. It's a service to the game. And it's not something that it's like, you don't lord that over people. It's not, something, so you don't flaunt that around people. Your masterhood, you flaunt that. Oh yeah, absolutely. But not knighthood. You're there as a representative of the game to show people, you're there to help. Okay. If you're the best in the game, it kind of sets a bad precedent for it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, it's quickly becoming the KOK opinion. So Dallin's in the chat giving you kudos for it. Godric's in the chat. Yep. It's very quickly becoming the stance of KO. Yeah, who's Godric? But also Dallin also approves the statements on the rogue stuff. So way to go for that. You have Dallin's stamp of approval. Which also Dallin's stamp of approval should be a thing that you do. I'm just saying. Anyways, okay.
I'll put that on my work. I'll put that on my wiki page.
There you go. Godric would like to know. You know Godric, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you could remove, or you had to remove one of the knighthoods, which knighthood would you remove?
Battle or crown?
I'm listening.
Okay. So here's the concept with most of the knighthoods. They're areas of expertise. Okay. So you have flame, which is service to the game. Okay. Lions, smiths, rogues, they're all some form of service. Then you have crown, because clearly crown doesn't serve the game. Yeah, they do. Nope. It should be in there. Same thing with battle. Battle is a fighting concept. You don't get battle awards for being off the field. You get battle awards for being on the field. You are fighting. Okay. Same thing with tournaments. And honestly, bring Griffins back. Okay. I have a very strong opinion for Griffins. All right. Griffins is a show of honor. Okay. And if you have sword knights, you would want them to have honor. Okay. So it makes sense for that to be in there. Honor on the battlefield. It's a precedence. When they took it out, they showed that it was not important for a sword knight to have honor. It had a negative connotation to it. Shout out to Sir Shadow, who is a master griffin and got his sword knight from that before he became a warlord. So yeah, great guy. I love that man. He's awesome. So I would like to see Griffin back. So both crown and battle, there are already knighthoods for those type of things. I wish they were in. I mean, if you look at Serpent, you have dragons, you have owls, and you have garbers. Okay, those areas are all encompassing. There is so much stuff shoved into those categories, especially dragon. Role playing is in dragon. Most people forget that. Okay, and oh my gosh, there's just so much in dragon. We have all these different things in the Serpent path. It's everything that's craft related. Anything that you're making, armor, artwork, everything, siege weapons, it's all in there. Okay, but yet we have battle and sword, both fighting, not in the same path. You got flame and crown, both service, but not the same path. So
okay. Well, you lost Alan with the crown. Dylan, he has to pick one, and everyone that's picked one is picked either flame or crown.
If
Battle
you
being
don't
on
like
there.
my answer, pretend I picked the other one.
Yeah, just
There you go.
I just as someone who my highest orders in anything are crown and battle, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, okay, let's just get rid of those. Let's just do that.
No. I didn't say get rid of them. More to the fact that they need to be placed under one of the other two.
Sure.
So you would still be on the same path. But instead of a crown knight, you'd be a flame knight. Okay.
Right.
Instead of a battle knight, you'd be a sword knight. That kind of situation.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Godric. Yep. Here it is. Godric's coughing. Can we say it's the KOK stance for this as well, Godric? Let's just make one knighthood. Let's just make all of the master hoods eligible, and then knighthood. You just become a knight. Sure.
I like the concept, but at the same time, I do like how if you want to work in a certain area, you seek out a certain knight.
Yeah.
I do like that kind of concept. If we back that down to one knighthood and just make masterhood for all the different things more prevalent, you would seek out that specific person for their masterhoods instead. It would still work.
You could still search out the person for the knighthood, because what I would tell people is, if they were going to take that idea straight from what is being said on here, that you put the symbol on their belt of their masterhood, so that
yes,
people are just like, oh, look at that white belt. Oh, look at that. There's a dragon on there. That person is a master dragon who is now a knight. I'm going to ask them about garbing or role play.
Absolutely. And another thing, when someone gets their first knighting, it's a big deal. Everyone, you get all these gifts, and they make a big ceremony out of it. All right, then sometime down the line, you might see the same person get another knighting. It's not as special. I mean, they put a lot of work into that. Congratulations, but it doesn't have the same feel. And then if there are those type of people who's got a third knighting or a fourth, now they could get a fifth knighting.
Mm-hmm.
It lowers in importance. I mean, they are more important now than ever, but the ceremonies just don't have the same heart in them. Now, if you get that first knighting, yeah, but if you got multiple masterhoods, that says so much more. And I think Godric put it really well. Knighthood was your award, from the people. Whereas, no, I said that wrong. Masterhood.
Yep.
Okay, masterhood was the award that he has met that standard. That's about him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas knighthood is about the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see more emphasis on knighthood, on masterhood than knighthood.
Yeah, and Dallin, again, yes, we would if we did the one knight system, Master Crown would exist. All the Master Hoods would exist. You could be a Master Griffin and be a knight. You could be a Master Smith and be a knight. You could be a Master Hydra, maybe. You qual a bunch of times, and people are like, you know what? You qual so much, you should be a knight. Okay, so Corran, can you give me a couple of up and comers that you know?
Yes, I have made a list.
Lists are happening.
Yes. Okay. I have 5 up and comers for you. Okay. First one is Solaris. They are in Darkmoon in Iron Mountains. Okay. You might know them from a bunch of their online work during COVID. They did a whole bunch of inter-kingdom events. They did that. They did a whole bunch of kingdom events for Iron Mountains. They did stuff from, I think it was Emerald Hills. Yeah, they were very, very busy. In fact, they were one of the runners. I think it was the virtual Amtgard Extended event. They actually ran, I think it was an auction. They made money off the auction on an online event. They made a profit off of it. I forget which kingdom ended up with the money and everything else, but yeah, on an online event, they made a profit. I've seen kingdom events not make money. They go negative in some events. Yep. This one made money. So it's like, that sounds like a win right there. They are, I think, sitting at 8 smiths right now, and they've been sadly very overdue for their 9th, 10th masterhood. Very upcoming. Keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Another person would be Lord Squire Krusk Knee Slasher. Love the name. Okay. This is my buddy down in Neverwinter. Okay. They're an up and comer. They just got their Paragon Healer. He's currently working on scrolls and stuff, and I've seen some of his work. It's getting better and better. One of the most recent ones I saw him do, he did ultraviolet paint. So you didn't see, like, you saw a bunch of the stuff. It looked really nice. But you throw a UV light on it and it had like a hidden symbol on it and stuff. It was so cool. All right. Another person would be Paige Vix. All right. This is Lael's underbelt. Vix, she is doing fantastic right now. She's just did Peloton. Okay. I love the wordplay. Okay. It's a pelling series every week that, you know, they do practicing with pelling and like working on different skills. Recently, they just worked on rap shots. And so it's really awesome seeing someone, I think they've only been playing for a couple years now, maybe just at the beginning of COVID. Yeah. And so they're already doing this for a live stream every week. And it's awesome. Number 4 would be Viscount Man-at-Arms Nephilim Phelan. Yes. Okay. Another person from Neverwinter who's actually, from what I've been told, slowly working their way up to Crystal Crowns. They're down in Mystic Forge. Okay. They've been Paragon Assassin. They just got their Paragon Druid, and they're just they've been also on the path for belt weaving. Okay. And they've got a lot of good ideas, and they're working in the path. They're getting there. So good person. And the last one. This is a little bit of stretch on up and comer, okay? But I'm gonna have to say Squire Lael Fitzmorgan, okay? And I say stretch because they're getting their knighthood at the end of the month, okay? But I consider them still up and coming because even though they've already proven themselves hand over hand in weaving, they're still going. They're still working on new techniques, new this, new that. I think he's working on yarn weaving techniques now, and so he's making some really cool stuff there. But at the same time, still a go-to for all other weaving techniques and stuff. And his knowledge is deep, but yet ever expanding. He's still looking up new things. It's like, whoa, hey, you've already passed the finish line. What are you doing? Oh, you're going to hit that one too? Okay. Like, I know a lot about weaving thanks to Sir Godric and Lael, and more stuff that I've been picking up on my own. But like, I have a long way to go when it comes to his work.
Cool.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Corran, I actually have to call you out here. Godric put something in the chat.
Okay.
Kodiak. Now that I've invited Corran onto my show and he declined.
Okay.
What do I do to bribe him to come? What did I do to bribe you to come on KOK? Godric. Some people got it and some people don't, man. Like, KOK is the oldest running. Oh no, we know the answer. Yes. We did it. KOK is one of the oldest running talk shows on. I mean, you got to be the oldest one. That might be coming to an end, but spoilers for down the road. But yeah, Corran, why did you turn down Godric?
So I mentioned this to you at the very beginning. 99% of my experience is online. Mm-hmm. Now, when I say that, I don't mean due to COVID. I meant because of my work schedule. I work every other weekend. So I miss half the weekends. I am deeply involved with the Boy Scout program because I got 2 kids who I've got in the program. So I have very little time to make it out to park. I haven't been to park in months. I'm sorry. And before COVID, I was still having issues coming to park. I mentioned I've never been to a Kingdom event. And when I watch some of Godric's videos, I hear these wonderful stories about all these different events these people have been, their experiences. And when I think about going on his show, I'm like, I don't have a lot to talk about, guys. All my experiences, secondhand from videos and tutorials. And I think it was Godric who said it in a one of his tips. YouTube is the way to crafting. You could be a master in any craft if you know how to do YouTube.
Sure.
That's me. Okay, I've been all over YouTube. I've followed so many sword knights on YouTube. Oh my gosh, I know all the skills. I can't do them, but I know them. But yes, Godric, you are my next show I will be on. Do not worry. Kodiak has given me the confidence.
Yes. Okay, has done it again.
To do, and I'll be set.
Awesome. Well, there you go, Godric. Because of KOK, you have another episode. All right. Sir Alucard would like to know, are you belted to anyone? If so, what kind of relationship do you have? And can you tell us about your belt line?
Absolutely. I am squire to Dame Angela Mastersinger of Crystal Groves, the first knight of Crystal Groves. She was one of the founding members. And I started off, this was, okay, so I've apologized to her for this story before because it's ridiculous. One of my squire, she's my squire sister. Yeah, try to remember her character's name currently. Ari. Okay, Ari. She's actually getting knighted hopefully this summer. Yes, for their awesome role play. Are you familiar with Caddock's Castle?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes. Ari is Caddock. So yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So their work with role play and everything else. Them and I became friends back in 2019, roughly, due to role play. And then there was this woman who friended me on Facebook, and I knew that she did role play, and I was like, you know what? She seems nice, whatever. And so I friended her. Okay. And we had no real correlate, no contact really, just being friends on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I think it was, I want to say January 2020. Dun, dun, dun. All right. She messages me and says, hey, I love the work you do. I like your role play. Would you be interested in taking a belt from me? And I'm like, okay, I don't know who this person really is. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm really interested in a page belt. And I asked what it would be, and she says, excuse me. She said it'd be a man at arms. I was like, okay, that's not bad. And I'm like, is this noble belt line or is this knighthood belt line? And she's like, oh, knighthood. And then she sends me her wiki page. I didn't know she was Dame Angela Mastersinger offering me a belt. I didn't know who she was at this point until I looked at her wiki. I'm like, I fixed this woman. I'm an Amped Wiki admin. I have worked on her page multiple times, and her game name is Angela. Her Facebook name is Angela. I was clueless to who this woman was. And then afterwards, I'm like, now I just feel bad just taking a belt from her now. So amidst COVID, she was planning on coming down here and visiting. COVID happened like right afterwards.
Yeah.
And so she made a trip down here. I think it was March of 2020. She went on a little vacation with her husband and everything else, came down here, visited me and what would be my one of my squire sisters down here. No. Squire brother. Yes. All right. And we end up having breakfast with her at IHOP, and we talked and everything else. And she gave me the position of squire at arms. And what that is an at-arms position with the promise that she sees promise in me to become a squire.
Cool.
I was like, oh, that's some heavy shoes. Okay. Well, I think within 2 or 3 months, she squired me. So she sent me a belt and everything else. All right. Well, yeah, we're in it right now. And then she squired me, and so I've been her squire for shoot, this is 22, so coming up on 2 years now.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Awesome. That's great. Congratulations on that's a great story to get to the. I didn't know that was that. Oh, that's good. Okay,
You don't know until you know, right?
right. Okay, so Michael would like to know, why are you not a master yet?
Michael. Okay, so I've done a bunch of work for the kingdom, for working towards my masterhood. Um, I did a bunch of stuff online, but my monarchy would more like to see things in person. Remember how I said I don't travel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of hurting me. So that's one reason why I haven't got the master, because people have not seen a lot of the stuff I've done. I post it online. You can see it everywhere if you look online. But in person, in my kingdom, people don't see a lot of my work. A lot of my stuff. I mean, I should get masterhood down here in Neverwinter with as much stuff as I sent to them. And then some other places. Most of my work people don't see up here, unless they follow Corran's Crafts or follow me on Facebook and stuff like that. But yeah, so a lot of my stuff hasn't been seen as well. That, and on top of, so if you look at the recommendations for most masterhoods, that last project, that 10th order, they want you to put in a set, like for Owl, they want you to put like a set of armor. And I'm like, I'm not making an entire set of armor made of paracord. Though, and so that's where I have a really big belt project coming up that I'm working on. If I can get my stuff before then, great. I'm still making that project.
Okay.
But I'm working my way.
Okay. All right. Also, Corran's Crafts Facebook page.
Yes. Corran's
Okay.
Crafts.
Maybe after the episode, you could put that into the chat and we can circulate
Absolutely.
that. Awesome. Okay, Corran, we are here. We've gotten to the toughest questions you will ever answer on Kingdom of Kodiak.
Okay, let's go.
You've only been on Kingdom of Kodiak once. It should be
so
pretty.
Far.
Okay. Still would like to know, what's the coolest dog you've ever met?
Coolest dog I've ever met. Okay. I'm prior service Air Force. I've been to Afghanistan. Okay. While I was on my second tour in Afghanistan, I was working in the help desk. One day there was a military police that came in with their canine. Okay. He was a German Shepherd and he looked big and mean. Okay. Until his owner told him to sit. And then he was the happiest puppy you could ever tell. His tail was going all over the place. He looked up at him so happy. But when he sat down, he sat too far from his foot. So the owner said, closer. He scoots a little closer. Closer. He scoots a little closer. But he's so happy the entire time. And they gave him a little treat and everything else. And that was the coolest dog I've ever seen. And I now have a half German Shepherd, half Labrador Retriever. Her name's Gold.
Love it. Love it. Awesome.
She's almost as cool.
Just almost. I think you might be the first person that owns a dog that didn't put their dog on top of the list, which is commendable. So
I said just almost. Now you just got some awesome cuddles.
For sure. All right. Corran, what's your favorite dinosaur?
Okay. I actually had to look up the name for this. It's the Sagategia. It's a type of stegosaurus. Okay. But instead of having the plates on top on its back, it's armored across the sides. It's like a prehistoric armadillo with a big old club for a tail.
Yep.
That guy.
Yep. Okay. I can see. Okay. Corran, what's the best kind of dragon?
Copper.
Okay. Those quick hints. All right.
Yeah.
What about
they are the most mischievous. Okay. They are playful. They like jokes. They like puns. All right. They are, they're chaotic good. Okay. So they like doing good things and everything else. You mess with them the wrong way, you get the mean side. But besides that, they're happy. So they're fun dragons. They're not the most powerful out there, but they got more personality.
Cool. All right. What about your favorite fictional knight?
Favorite fictional knight. Okay. I wrote this one down too. Where are you? Oh, Yeah, of course. Goldcrest.
There you go. Hey,
Like, I don't know why I had to think about that. Yeah, Goldcrest. And there's a fun story there too.
Mhm.
I have met Goldcrest.
Mhm.
I don't travel. I have met him once. I can almost guarantee you he won't remember it, but I have met him. On top of that, when I was learning about knighthood and underbelts and stuff, I really hoped to be in his knighthood, in his path.
Mhm.
And then when he retired his knighthood, there's
Mhm.
just, they were just throw it away. And then I got into Dame Angela's belt line, and I felt honored to be in her belt line. To find out she is in his belt line. All right, her knight, I want to say it was Sir Iago, was Sir Goldcrest's underbelt. So
Look at that.
when she underbelted me, I sent him a message the same day. It's like, hey, you're my great grand knight, and he's like, that's cool, good for you, man. Awesome. Man, he's got the best he takes
Yep.
it with good guy. I like him.
Yeah. First of all, kudos for saying Goldcrest. That's a very good answer. But also for finally being like the second Amp-Garter to be like, oh yeah, our knights are fictional knights. I can use those.
I told you I did my research on your videos, man. And
Thank you.
one of those things of like, oh yeah, I got like Sir Arthur, of course, fictional. No, we're all fictional.
Yeah.
So
There we go. Awesome. Zachary would like to know what's the best fictional or non-fictional sword name?
okay, so I did research on this and some other things, and it depends on how your interpretation is. But sword would be, either the master sword or the dark saber.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it didn't have to be a sword, Scorm's bow was always one of my favorite fictional items.
Okay.
If you played the original Fable game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have to do something bad to get it, but it was worth it. And then if it had to be Amp-Guard fictional, my flail was dramatic.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Sir Smiley would like to know, what's your favorite book of all time?
Book for Harry Potter.
Okay.
So it gave me a love for reading. I was one of those kids that just kind of didn't feel like he fit in everywhere. I was kind of a misfit in most of my life. Still a misfit. All right, and I don't know. The book just always spoke to me. Just it made me feel like, yeah, you're weird. You don't fit in everywhere, but there's a place for you somewhere. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Do you play Magic the Gathering?
I do not.
Ooh, okay. All right. Corran, wow. Okay. What is your favorite color then?
Black.
Just black? Okay.
I have played Magic the Gathering before.
Okay.
My brother got me a starter pack years and years and years ago, and I played that, and I really enjoyed some of the creatures and stuff for the black side. And I know that there is a huge, deep lore, huge in Magic the Gathering. I mean, along with LARPing and Dungeons and Dragons is the joke, get them into Magic the Gathering, they won't have money for drugs. There's a reason, okay? And so I don't have the capacity for that additional hobby.
Okay.
I'll stick to dice collecting.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Dice collecting is a beautiful hobby. So, Corran, since you did your homework, I'm going to say that this is a self-serving question. You're going to tell me what it is.
Okay.
Okay. This is the self-serving question.
Yep, I didn't do this homework. I missed this one.
Is Kodiak more of a Jedi or a Sith?
Oh, I answered you last week as well. It's a trick question. You like the Gray Jedi.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I appreciate that you did your homework. I wanted to see how deep that well went, though.
Yeah. And it's easy to remember when you represent Gray Jedi. Like, actually, going back to one of your previous questions, you asked about companies and households.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even get into the households.
No, you didn't.
One of them is a Star Wars household, Star Wars fans of Amtgard, SWFA. And we have different factions in us. And yes, there is a Grey Jedi faction run by Lieutenant General Corran Grey right here. So, yep.
That's awesome. Cool. All right. What is your favorite D&D race?
Favorite race? I don't have a specific favorite race. I started off playing half elf when I first started off. And then as I got into it, I started playing human, then tiefling, and I gotten to the point where I'm more experimental, that I just want to try almost everything. One of my favorites has been tiefling. He was a tiefling wizard, a necromancer to be specific, and he had so much contempt for everyone. Why are you all so stupid? Why? Just why? And he became the leader of that party because, like, what? Stop doing the things. No, do it this way. I have the higher intelligence. Just do it. Yes.
I love it.
He's my favorites. Between him and my human paladin, I forget the name of the actor from Rules of Engagement. He does Joe's voice in Family Guy.
Oh, you would do that right now too.
Yeah. You know who I'm talking.
Yeah.
I based that character off of him, mixed with Fix-It Felix from Wreck-It Ralph. He had a giant hammer, and he constantly said, "I can fix it." Yeah.
Okay.
And needs to say, he did not fix the thing.
No, he didn't fix the thing. No.
But he made them all worse.
Fair enough.
But he had a big heart. He had a very big heart. He was lawful good, and he tried his darndest.
I love it. I love this character so much, and I've never met them. Okay. My favorite question in the funny questions. Amtgard is making a live action movie. Who is playing Corran Grey?
Yeah, I was prepared for this one. Okay. So I told you I play assassin.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to the household question, I also lead the largest household of assassins in all of Amtgard, consisting of members in almost every single kingdom of Amtgard. So if there was someone to play me, there's only one person, Matthew Mercer.
Very good. Okay. So when Matt Mercer comes onto the screen playing Corran Grey, what is the theme song that is playing?
Oh, okay. I wasn't prepared for that one. Honestly, with Matthew Mercer, it could be just about anything, and he could pull it off.
That's fair. So, also fair.
Some rainbows and ponies in there, you'll still make it look awesome.
Right. All right. Different universe. There's no movie being made, but everyone has a superpower. What's your superpower?
Oh my gosh. I've thrown this around so many different times. I think I've kind of settled on telekinesis, being able to move things. You know, I'll admit it. I'm lazy. You know, it's like I don't want to get up to get the remote. Come here. Ah, yes. So I don't want to go to the fridge for a soda. Come here.
I don't want to use my hands to make that next weave.
Oh my gosh! Ooh. I could work so many belts at the same time.
Yep.
I'd be set. Yes.
Blew your mind. Look at that. All right. Corran, still would like to know, what's your favorite conspiracy? And what's your favorite Amtgard conspiracy?
Okay. My favorite conspiracy? Flat Earth. Okay. The arguments that I've heard to prove flat Earth and at the same time disproving them are hilarious. Okay. It's just having traveled the world in a plane to like Afghanistan and some other places I've been to in the military, I can tell you it's not flat. It's very round and very long flights.
Stare into the darkness.
Oh my god. So much ocean.
Yeah.
Like, that's scary how much ocean. And like I know I've got Navy buddies who talk about like they're on ships out in the middle of the ocean, and at night when it's pitch black because you have no, cities near you.
Yep.
You see just the ocean of stars. It makes you realize how small the world really is, or like how big the world is. Small as Amtgard. Yeah, you realize how small the world is in Amtgard when you like, oh yeah, I'm knighted to that person. What? Yes. But yeah, the flat Earth is my favorite conspiracy in that. My favorite Amtgard conspiracy is Brennan running Amtgard still to this day in the shadowy back alleys of Amtgard.
Yeah, the shadow government one is the best one. It's just, guys, come on. Really, come on. All right.
Yeah, they don't exist.
Lightning would like to know, would you rather adopt 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
I've thought about this one too, okay? And both answers are great, okay? So 100 duck-sized horses would be the greatest petting zoo. Mm-hmm. Also, you could sell them for all those little girls who want a pony. Mm-hmm. I got one right here. Perfect, great for selling. But a horse-sized duck would be the greatest mount. Yeah. Okay, it flies and it's a duck, so it's already terrifying. And I prepared this one. You could ride it like a panther. Okay, all right. So that'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, Stillhat would like to know, would you rather fight a duck-sized horse or a horse-sized duck?
I would rather fight a duck-sized horse. I would feel bad about it, but I'd rather live. Yeah. And I think I have better odds against a duck-sized horse.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Corran, are birds real?
Yes. Oh. Because something's pooping on my car, and I'd rather not find out what else it could have been.
Well, sorry. Also, moving on. Freya would like to know, what drink is better than Mountain Dew?
I don't understand the question.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right?
No.
The question, there's a fundamental flaw in the question. I'll tell you what, I'll ask you a Mountain Dew question, and we'll see if people can understand it. And it's the question that will divide this household. Code Red or Baja Blast?
Between only those two,
yep,
it's Mountain Dew. Okay, but they are not the best. It's no longer around, and it breaks my heart. Pitch Black was the best.
Really?
Yes. That said, I will sit here and drink my Code Red.
Yeah. Okay, it's to Code Red. To Code Red.
Considering it still exists, it clearly is the better one.
Right. It'll never die.
No.
Okay. Sir Nikolai would like to know, what is your favorite drink, and when was the last time you drank water?
My favorite drink is Mountain Dew, which, various flavors. I actually have like 3 or 4 different flavors behind me. All right. And isn't water what they put in soda?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now. Yeah.
Water's in everything. It's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's flavored water.
The soda with, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right, Corran, I'm going to give you some either ors. You give me one or the other answer. Here we go. Apple juice or orange juice?
Apple.
Hot dog, is it a sandwich or a taco?
I'll eat it either way.
Okay. Ice cream or custard?
Ice cream.
Waffle or pancake?
Waffle.
How much is too much to spend on breakfast?
It all depends on where you go. I guess, $10 is a good average,
Okay. Favorite thing to add to a bowl of yogurt?
Don't care for yogurt, so whatever you want, I guess.
Well, okay, Morgan would like to know, is oatmeal a soup?
No, it is not. It is too thick to be a soup. Now, if your oatmeal does look like soup, you did it wrong.
All right, final 4 questions. Morgan would like to know, what is the square root of a bowl of oatmeal?
Don't know. It's still better than yogurt.
Fair enough. Can you, with as much detail as possible, explain what the color of the letter F smells like?
So, those Amtgard weekends where you've been fighting all weekend long, and you take your glove off and you smell it. There you go.
Okay. Before we get to the final 2, Dylan, Baja Blast was not selected this time. Sorry, You're wrong. Okay. Morgan would like to know if you could meet anyone in history, who would it be and why? Is it Freddie Mercury?
Honestly, like, who would I say? Oh, if I could meet anyone in history, it would be Jim Carrey impersonating Keanu Reeves. I think that would be a very interesting conversation. That said, I would love to meet Freddie Mercury. Past Freddie Mercury, not current Freddie Mercury. Yes.
Yes.
Freddie Mercury, that'd be still really interesting. Yeah, so I would love to meet Freddie Mercury. That'd be cool.
Okay. All right. Last question. Let me catch my breath. If it takes a chicken and a half, a day and a half to lay an egg and a half, how long would it take a grasshopper with a wooden leg to kick the seed out of a dill pickle?
4.2 seconds.
4.2 seconds. Corran, thank you so much for coming on today. If you could just bear with me through some announcements, we'll say our goodbyes. Okay. Dragon's fine. We are past mid-reign, which means declarations for Kingdom offices are accepted. If you're paying attention, we have 2 nominees going for Monarch. I am currently running for Kingdom Regent. Still won the vote against Kenjin to become our new Prime Minister. I don't think we have any nominations for GMR or Champion. So get your declarations in if you want to do that. Also, I think it's no spoilers at this point. The King mentioned it on the page. Dragon's Finals DSLC is going to be putting in a bid for Endrain as well as Glassford Thailand, which means Dragon's Spine is going to get a chance to vote to where they want to go for Endrain. So, wait for that declaration as well. I kind of hinted at it earlier, and I didn't want to make that big of a deal about it, but I think next week is the last episode of Kingdom of Kodiak. I think after we do the 100th episode, I'm going to step back and let someone else who wants to run a talk show, if there's a talk show to be had, to do that. I've had a blast doing this, and next week's episode is going to have a bunch of my favorite people on. But yeah, I think it's time. 100 episodes sounds like a good kickoff, good point to separate and go away. So, Godric, you got a chance to catch me. Whack Podcast, you got a chance to catch me. But remember, I did it first. Corey, do you got anything?
According to what I see online, all your fans do not want you to quit. I started on roughly about an episode, I think it was 91.
Yeah.
And so I'm very disappointed that now that I'm into it, it's ending. I mean, happy that I caught the end, I guess. But still, no. You do you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll pull back the statement, but I think going into next week, it's we've had less people asking to come on, which is fine. My Wednesdays are super busy now I'm teaching. When I started this, I was working in a call center where I had Wednesdays off. So it's a little bit different now. But also there's so many great voices that could be out there doing episodes. So we'll see, but don't be surprised if next week's post says it's the last episode of KOK.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And Corran, I'm so glad that I got to have you on before it ended. This has been a great time. You're a fantastic person.
I had a blast. This is great.
I'm glad. Also, you should go check out Corran's page. You want to plug that one more time?
Corran's Crafts. I make sashes, I make belts, I make some other various things that people have asked for. Macrame, paracord. Try to bring your persona out, get some underbelts. I have fun with Knight's belts. So yeah.
I'm going to ask right at the end of the episode, just before we get off, do you, like, in your head, can you see the Snake Eyes bandolier? That goes across his chest, but also goes belts into his belt? Can you see that in your head?
Possibly. Shoot me a picture and okay. I'll see what I got. Okay. If it's actual like Snake Eye type situation, I got a pattern for that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Well, until next week, and maybe only next week, this has been Kingdom of Kodiak, and I'm Kodiak.